morning. You're welcome to your favorite program. Of course, Women's Corner. We'll talk about everything that has to do with women, and you are very welcome to be part of the show. I'm super excited. My name is Blossom Moyen, and of course, I'm not doing this alone as usual. I have my co-host with me, Patricia. Patricia, good morning.
Good morning, Rose Blossom. Good morning. And you just told me what the topic is going to be. It's going to be an amazing topic, amazing discussion. Stay put here.
Yes, amazing discussion. We're actually talking about the daily challenges or the challenges associated with menopause.
Why are you saying it already? Why are you saying it already?
I wanted to get ready because this is something that it's a topic that a lot of people need to really, really be connected to. Because it's not just until when you get there; it's how to prepare yourself before you get there, when you are there, and of course, on and on you get better at it. Anyways, we'll be having an amazing guest that will be joining us all the way from the state. She's sacrificing to be on this program today, and we really do appreciate her. But before we introduce the Zoom guest for today, I want us to go for a tip. We're doing every health tips today. Every tip we're bringing out today is basically pertaining to health. And of course, we'll be going for a break, and then we'll be having tips for healthy fingernails. But before that, I want you to know that you can join us on Facebook and YouTube at Galaxy TV News on YouTube, and on Facebook is Galaxy Television. So yes, let's quickly go for the break-in, and we have the tips for healthy fingernails, which is very important. And of course, we'll be right back to introduce the guest and start talking. Stay with us. Watching Women's Corner, and that is a tip for healthy fingernails. And of course, we'll be bringing our guest on now to talk. Her name is Cynthia Chioma Odekwani. She's a registered nurse and midwife. She's an outreach facilitator with Life Impact Foundation, a community administrator for Pregnancy Support Foundation, also a program manager with Teen Challenge, a teacher, a mentor, empowerment and education advocate. Can we have Chioma on the screen?
Hello.
Hey,
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining me.
You look amazing.
It's been
Very
quite a
beautiful
while.
as always. Thank you. It's good to be here. It's nice to be here again. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining. Okay, so we said we'll be talking about the daily challenges that relate with menopause, and of course you talked about we have the physical and we have the psychological challenge. So let's deal with the psychology first, the psychological part, because I feel like that one is a whole lot to deal with. The physical is something maybe a medical doctor or someone could, someone random person could actually just maybe help you with it. But psychological, it has a lot to do with a whole lot of things. So it could even damage your self-esteem and all of that. So basically, what are those psychological challenges that people who are, experiencing menopause, what do they face basically psychologically?
All right. Thank you so much for that question. Before we talk about the emotional or psychological challenges that accompany menopause, let's understand what menopause is, first of all, okay? So menopause simply means that a woman has gotten to that part in her reproductive cycle, or she has gotten to that part in her life where she can no longer have children. There is a cessation of menstrual cycle. And why does this happen? Now, when a woman is in her reproductive age, when she can have children, there are hormones that makes her body or puts her body in the right condition and right, atmosphere where she can give birth to children, she can carry pregnancies and nurse the babies. And one of that hormone, or the major hormones, are estrogen and progesterone. These are the major hormones that are responsible for, pregnancy, maintenance of pregnancy, and the rest of it. Of course, there are other hormones that plays a part during ovulation and the rest of them, but estrogen and progesterone, they are the common hormones, okay? What happens in menopause is that there is a reduced production of these hormones. Now, these hormones, they come to a point where they peak and then they start declining gradually, gradually until their production ceases completely from the body, and that woman is said to have entered menopause. Now, with the decline of these hormones or reduction in production comes with a lot of mood swings, a lot of anxiety. Women can have mood swings, they can have anxiety, and if anxiety is not checked, if it's not controlled, it can lead to depression. So these are some of the challenges that can occur psychologically. And of course, because your body is changing and you don't even understand what is happening some of the time or most of the time, you might be so worried and worked up because you don't even understand what's going on. So all of these collectively or put together can cause, an imbalance in a woman's psychological or mental health during menopause.
That's a very deep one because a lot of people don't even see it from that angle. But you have a question.
Yes. Hi, Chioma. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know it's not morning in your time, but thank you for finding time to join us. Okay. So my question is related to what you have just answered. Talking about the menopause, when it's time to start, and then, So is there a time or age for menopause, and is there an induced menopause? Because sometimes I hear, there's a surgery that was carried out on a woman, and then because of that, menopause started and all that. So I want to know in details, is there age for menopause? Is there induced menopause?
Okay, very beautiful question, and thank you. So yes, there is a specific age, or there is it's not specific, but there is a range during which a woman is supposed to enter menopause. Now, menopause does not happen once. A woman starts experiencing signs, what we call the or perimenopausal symptoms, before she now comes to the end of her period. So as a woman, if you still have your period occasionally, you have not entered menopause completely. So it's expected that from the age of 40 to 45, that's like the range, 40 to 45. Some can even extend up to 50. Within that age or within that age range, a woman can enter menopause finally. On an average, it's 48 years or 48 to 50 or 52 years, yes. But from 45 up till 50, this is the age where menopause is expected to happen. So towards the end of a woman's reproductive cycle. And yes, menopause can be induced. Remember, I made mention of the fact that menopause simply means a cessation of menstruation. So as a woman, you have come to that point where you are not ovulating anymore, and your menstrual cycle has ceased, so you can't have children. So it can be induced, and one surgical procedure that women undergo, and they they enter menopause even when they have not reached the age for menopause, is when they have their ovaries removed. Now, the ovaries is the part of your body or part of a woman's body where the eggs that are being fertilized for pregnancy to take place is produced. So the ovaries is the part of our body that houses the eggs. So when that organ is removed, a woman can enter into menopause, because it is the production of eggs every month that kind of controls a woman's menstrual cycle. So if eggs are being produced, a woman has her body being like, hormones are produced to start preparing her for pregnancy. And then when fertilization does not take place, her uterine lining breaks down, and then she sees the menstrual blood, what we call the period. So the production of egg is what guides the entire cycle of a woman's reproductive cycle or a woman's menstrual cycle. Okay, so when those ovaries are removed, there is no production of egg anymore. There is no release of egg. There is no, production of hormones that will act on the uterus to prepare it for pregnancy and the likes of it. Therefore, when that has gone away, or when it has been taken away, menopause can now happen, even when a woman has not reached the age of menopause. So there is a specific age or an age range where a woman is expected to come into menopause. And yes, there are also procedures that could cause a woman to enter into menopause even when she has not approached the age. So I hope my answer was clear.
Okay, so we've always had this conversation, even ourselves, just talking, and somehow we believe that there's a particular age before, but thank God for making that clear that it's just in range. So do you think someone in 55, someone at the age of 55, if you're still seeing your menstrual cycle, you're still experiencing that, do you think it's still possible for the person to be pregnant?
The reaction. Thank you.
Oh my
Thank you
God.
for that question. So, yes, the answer is yes. It is very possible. I mean, because the menstrual cycle is what, I just explained that. I just explained that earlier. Like it's a cycle. It's something that once it's happening, definitely the end product cannot be. We can't deny the end product. You understand? So if a woman is still experiencing her menstrual cycle, she still ovulates, produces eggs, and when there's no pregnancy, then the uterine lining gets shed off as menstrual blood. Definitely, because an egg is being produced, okay? If the conditions are right, when I mean by the conditions being right, when a woman eventually has sexual intercourse during that period, definitely she will get pregnant. But the only thing is that with decreasing or with increasing age or with aging comes a lot of what do I call it now? There's this word I'm trying to look for, because a woman's egg, they are not very vital anymore. So the baby has high chances of coming down with congenital abnormalities. A lot of congenital abnormalities are associated with aging or getting pregnant in aging. But that does not mean that women cannot have healthy babies at an old age. And here and there, at different times, we even hear miracles happen, or I call them miracles because medically they might seem, or it seems unexplainable, because how can you explain a woman at such an age getting pregnant? But it does happen, especially when we can define it or we can explain it medically. I mean, you are still having your menstrual cycle. So if the conditions are right, with an exposure during sexual intercourse, yes, woman can get pregnant even at that age. As long as she's still having her monthly cycles, pregnancy can still take place. Yeah, so pregnancy can happen at that age. Yeah.
Still, still on that question, I want to clear something because we talked about it this morning. Okay, so still on that question, at 55 you said, okay, so what if the woman has started a premenopause process? Can she still get pregnant when she's having a premenopause?
Yes. Pregnancy can still happen at or during premenopause, okay? Because the period has not ceased completely. Exactly. So the only time a woman cannot get pregnant is when there is a cessation of her menstrual cycle. When it has ceased completely, then pregnancy cannot occur. But with premenopause symptoms, a woman can have irregular periods. Even though periods are irregular, they are not coming as usual. There are still chances of her getting pregnant. Reason being that the period has not ceased completely. As long as that period is coming, it means that there is still production of the eggs, although it is not as regular as it used to be before. So a woman can still get pregnant in that circumstance. The only time a woman cannot get pregnant is when that menopause has finally taken place and her menstrual cycle has ceased completely. So at that point in time, there is no pregnancy cannot happen. But as long as she's still seeing her period, even though it's irregular, there are chances that she can get pregnant. I said chances. It's not like it's 100% something, but there are chances that pregnancy can still occur. Yeah.
bringing that to light because, like she said, it's something we've been discussing before, but kind of, thank you for saying that. At least Patricia now knows that I was right, aside from what miracle can do, I just believe you can always get pregnant if, you can actually, you're still ovulating, like you said. So we'll take a break here. Chema, you're still with us. We'll still be continuing the program definitely, but let's take a break here. And after the break, we'll be taking another health tip. Then after the health tip, we'll definitely come back to continue the program with Chioma Cynthia. So let's go for these tips to keep your feet healthy. And we'll be right back to the studio. Stay with beautiful welcome to watching Women's Fun. And of course, I'm super excited to still be here. We're talking about the challenges that women undergo during the process of menopause and why your tips. And also we're talking with Chioma Cynthia with the one. Can we have it back on the screen? All right, Chioma, thank you for joining us back. It's good to have you again. Okay, all right. So I was going to ask a question before we took a break, and my question is the physical challenges that women actually undergo. We would really like to know. You can talk to more about the psychological part. So for women who are undergoing menopause, before they get at it and when they are at it, what are the challenges physically that they experience that they need to know, especially before the menopause, and of course when they are at it, what are the challenges physically that they experience? Yeah. Can Chioma hear me? Hello, Chioma, because we can barely hear you from the studio. Check your audio.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you
hear you.
All right. Okay. So I said thank you for that question, and I mentioned that the very common symptom women experience before they come into menopause, like before they enter into menopause, finally, we have one of them, or the top on the list, is hot flashes. Hot flashes. So this is very common, and it's a very discomforting experience, especially when it happens all the time or very constantly. And simply, it's just when you feel this rush of warmth from your face, your neck, and like the upper part of your body. It can even extend to your chest sometimes. So you just feel a rush of warmth, and then afterwards you can maybe get very chilly, or you get to sweat profusely. So hot flashes, when they can happen during the day, they can happen at night. And imagine when you are sleeping and you have to wake up intermittently because you're just feeling this rush of warmth or heat or continuously or at some interval. So it can be very discomforting. It can interrupt your sleep. You don't get to get enough rest or enough sleep. Another symptom that can happen with menopause or before menopause takes place, premenopausal symptom, you can have the weakening of the bones, or a reduction in the bone density. So because we have different audiences connecting to this stream, I would just like to explain that in the very simplest of terms. So let's take, for instance, what do I use in explaining this now? Okay, let's take, for instance, the sponge we use in washing the plates at home, the sponge we use in washing plates in the kitchen. So when the sponge is new, you find out that it is very thick, like the density, that's what we call the density. The weight of the sponge is full and all of those things. Well, when you keep using it to wash plates over and over and over and over again, it gets to, it starts wearing off, starts getting lighter, and you will need to change it. So I'm just trying to use that explanation to show us or tell us, because of our audiences, what happens to the bone as a woman nears menopause. So the bones become more like they have, I don't know how to explain it now, but they start having more pores. So we have, that's where the word osteoporosis comes from. So the bones become more porous, and they are not as strong as before. And you can have women being, predisposed to fractures and some other kind of things like arthritis and the rest, even though arthritis is not directly related to the loss of density in the bones, but those are some of the things that can happen in that aspect. So another physical challenge or physical symptom that can happen again is weight gain. You start gaining weight, like especially around areas that you don't want to, like your, the abdominal area. You are accumulating fat there, and you see some women, they'll tell you that they are not eating as much, they are not eating so much, but they don't understand why they are gaining weight, or it's difficult for them to lose weight. Well, it's that phase of life, and that's one of the things that accompany it. And then another thing again is, heart problems with the heart. So the hormonal levels are declining, you are nearing your aging, so it can predispose you to a number of heart abnormalities. You can have your BP going up, you can have start feeling exertion, like you just do a little bit of work, and then you feel like you're gasping for air, you feel like you're feeling breathless and the rest of them, or you are breathing faster, like more, just too fast than normal. Like, you don't feel that agility as you used to when you were much younger, or when you were, in your youthful age. So all of these are things that can happen as a woman nears menopause, and everything is still stressed down to the fact that she's losing hormonal levels. And what makes all of this painful, or not, I don't want to use the word painful, but what makes it challenging exactly? What makes it challenging is that there are some things that we cannot control. I mean, for instance, studies have shown that if you are Black, when I mean Black now, I mean people from Africa, like Africa, like I'm trying to talk about in terms of race now. Yes, in terms of race, if you are Black. So if you're Black, menopause comes with more symptoms and it lasts even longer than those who are Caucasians, like the white people. And then for Asians, they have, genetically, or because of their race or genetics as well plays a part, they have less, or they experience less of these symptoms, or experience these symptoms to a reduced degree. So the way menopause will affect the life of a Black woman, it's not the way it's going to affect someone from Asia or a Chinese woman, and it's not even the same way it's going to affect someone who is American. Yeah, it's not going to be on the same degree. But in all of this, there are still things that a woman can do to optimize her health, to help her reduce the symptoms, and to live a very productive life. Because I mean, there are grandmothers and elderly women who are they are still very active, they are living the best of their lives, and that's because they started early to start looking out for themselves, and they are living fulfilled. So with having said all of this, I hope that I've made a very clear point on those physical things or physical challenges that can happen with menopause. Yeah, thank you.
I really love the fact that you went in there with all the challenges, and you were even given the signs and symptoms of how you would know this and this is about to happen to you and why it's happening to you. I love the fact that you did that. But we have one last question, and it's a yes or no question.
Just because of the time. Time is up.
We just have to ask this question.
Yeah,
so, Patricia.
Okay, so quickly, Cynthia, just because of time, how long does menopause stay?
Okay, you mean pre-menopause or menopause itself? Because there are two things.
Yes, 10 years, 2 years. How long does it last?
Okay, so for the pre-menopause, like before a woman comes into the cessation of her menstrual period, it can last from 5 to 10 years and even more. And even more. So for people like us, like I mean, Africans, Black people, we have it for a longer period of time. So a woman will just, for a very long period of time, she'll be experiencing changes in her menstrual cycle. It's fluctuating before it finally stops. But for menopause, menopause is the complete cessation, and it follows a woman until she eventually leaves, or stops living or dies. Yes.
Up to, let's say, updated, yes, because you are even went as far as letting us know that the way it is for us is different from the way it is for the Caucasians, the whites. And the first question that popped in my mind was, why is it different?
I was going to ask that.
Is it our food? Is it our skin?
Is it our color?
Yeah, it's our color. Why do we have to experience that? But anyways, it's nature. I don't know. Probably
it's nature, exactly. It's nature.
Yeah, it's nature. Yeah. So I will also bring you up again, definitely to educate us more on women, lifestyle, and of course health, and how we can be better at ourselves. But at this point, I'll say thank you very much for being part of the program. I always enjoy your session, but today we did enjoy your session. It was beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us and for sparing us your time, because I know you're supposed to be in bed right now.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's always a pleasure. It's always a privilege to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Patricia. Let's go.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Chioma for educating us. I'm sure most women out there enjoyed this section because, and I'm sure we were able to ask the questions they wanted to ask. Okay, so
especially that point of, because I know a lot of people used to believe that menopause, when you get to menopause, I don't know, maybe they expect a miracle to happen after you experience menopause. Maybe they will see their period again, I don't know, but it's really ask that question.
Yes.
Once you hit that point, there's no turning back. It goes with you to your grave. So yes, we've come to the end of the
yes, well, but to the end of the show, really, I enjoyed the section though. I didn't want it to come to an end because I had so many questions I wanted to ask Chioma. So hopefully we'll have to bring her back sometime so we could continue this discussion. I know a lot of women out there want to ask questions.
A lot of women, yes, a lot of women want to do that. I'm already pushed to ask you, what did you learn from today's lesson?
I learned a lot, I learned a lot.
This is what you asked.
But I was going to ask her just one question before we run out of time.
Yeah.
I hear people say men also go through menopause. I wanted to hear from her.
It's not like that for a man.
No, it might be different though.
It's quite different because a man of 70 can impregnate.
But their own section of menopause is different.
From us, so, I'm just saying because it's reproductive system, you understand? So it's always different. We can reproduce at a certain age, but then trust me, don't try it. They can reproduce. So don't think a 17-year-old man or a 60-year-old man cannot, make a woman get pregnant. Of course he can. Anyways, let's wrap up the show.
Yes.
So I'll come to the end of the show. We'll be joining you pretty soon on the buzz where, we discuss what's buzzing, what's trending on social media. Until we'll come your way again. We're going to see you tomorrow.
Same time. Same time tomorrow, but 12 for the buzz.
No, today 12 for the buzz, definitely. So we love you guys. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.